This one is probably too hostile to start with the peace greeting, even though I do generally wish peace for those of you in the audience that are going to hear this. Um, but to the ones I'm excoriating right now, I'm not saying this with peaceful wishes until they change who the huck they are. I already stated previously that unaccountable means unequal. And this is something that has been known about. We don't count kids as being morally equal per se. Now, this comes with a type of equality or a compensation for it. They're less accountable, criminally speaking, for some of the same things because they're kids. They are not executed for crimes. They will commit murders. They will do things to their own family members, and they will be released later on under juvenile law. They will be released later on to live in the free world without the help of those whom they took out. The accountability is not the same, and the equality is not there. They're considered to be, by default, worth something as human beings, but not the same as adults. On one hand, they are given special treatment, and on the other hand, they're not. We look out for their benefits, but we don't consult with them when we do it. And I have looked at these Western niches, and I talked about how it is that they demand to be held as unaccountable as kids, and then want equal treatment, and that's what makes them enemies. Not, kids are not the enemies of adults, but these Western niches are the enemies of men. It doesn't matter if the man is Western or not. If the man is a man, she's an enemy to him. And you can see this happening because you've got studs now sitting up and saying that they're done dealing with women. No, stay over there. You wanted to look like a dude, stay over there. And I'm going to say that part of the accountability is going to be that we're going to have to look at women like Brittany Renner. BGS will not agree with me, but we're not always here to agree. We're going to have to look at even women like Brittany Renner and say, no, I'm not even going to touch that because of what the hell I know. If you were not going to say no for religious reasons, then you have to look and say no because of your ego. And I don't tolerate this from women either. Not even from the women of my family. I'll tell my daughters in a heartbeat, if you're not going to tell men no, if you're not going to practice chastity and keep a low body count because of morality, and then the practical reasons that come from that, then you might as well go ahead and get a high body count. And yes, I will not be in contact with you because of that until you're ready to stop doing it. If you're going to keep a low body count because of ego, that's all it is, then you might as well go ahead and stay single the rest of your life. Hell, you might as well commit a crime and get yourself locked up in a women's prison. You don't need no man. You're strong, independent, and if men are a nuisance, get yourself locked up in a women's prison where there aren't men. Not playing games with this. But I tell men, if you cannot say no because of a conviction, then learn to do it for the reasons, really not so much of ego per se, but self-defense. You just tell them it's because of ego. You act like it's because of ego. Bitch, you don't deserve this. But really, it's because of self-defense. She doesn't deserve the chance to set you up for robbery because that's what they use sex for. I listened to a video yesterday in which a personal trainer who was either white or white adjacent, and he was a bouncer too. I think he was a bouncer as well. And he was talking about how it is that married women whose husbands are wealthy and busy are the ones that are going to cheat. Right off the bat. And he somewhat blamed the men for this, for how they let themselves go. And I'm like, wait a minute. These women married these men for money. These men could not have gotten married without money. These men would not have been chosen without their money. The same women that chose them for their money are now looking for something else. So all it really means is what it is that Angry Man said years ago, which is whatever the hell you don't have is going to be the reason they have for cheating on you. You ain't got no money. They step out on you with a man with more money than you. You got money. You don't have time. They step out on them with you. They step out on you with a man that's got time and ain't got the money. They just out here building. They're using several to build one. That's all it is. And that's the Western nation. There's nothing you really can do except what he said, be well-rounded, which is not even allowed in a world like today. There's a survey that says that Americans suffer from time poverty. How are you going to be well-rounded when you are always suffering from time poverty? Even I have that, and I'm over here in Saudi. I don't have to worry about the commutes, traffic, things like that. But for me, I go into my classroom and I start up the lesson and the equipment fails. And that's time away from the lesson, and that's time the students get distracted and unfocused, and then you have to reel them back in. I go in and I start the lesson about English, and then the students start asking me about their attendance. I don't fiffuck about your attendance. You're not graded on that. But since you don't like it when you're marked late, even though your ass is late, or absent, even though your ass is absent, I'm going to do it. Plus, I'm going to do it if you even so much as use Arabic in the classroom as a penalty because you don't like it. No, please don't do that, nigga. That's how I know it works. Nigga, that's how I know that's the right thing to do. You begging and pleading is definitely a sign that that's effective. And you're not to use Arabic in the English class. So I'm definitely going to do that. But it doesn't affect their grades directly. Indirectly, yes, but not directly. And I have to sit up here and be this jerk because of time that they will waste. And then not only that, but every single time I go into my office to do my job. And every time I go into my office to do my job, the door, I hear a knock on the door. And when I have stuff I got to mark and grade, I got to go to other places to do it and lock other doors in the hopes that nobody walks in. And lo and behold, they walk in because they got a class. So if I'm suffering from that here, what are you suffering from over there? How the hell are you going to be well-rounded so that your bitch don't cheat? You can't. And there's nothing you ever could have done to avoid it. Don't marry a Westernisha. Now, I open this up because I wanted to talk about the Reverend Brother Pastor Deacon, Dr. Hurricane Edward Allen Anderson, in his video about cultural compatibility. And I want to say this. Edward Allen Anderson, shout out to him, was very nice. He was very merciful, actually, in the way that he presented that. He commented on another video, but he was very merciful in how he presented the video upon which he was commenting. And I say that because, in a nutshell, really, the quiet part that he was not mean and unprofessional enough to say is the part that I'm going to go ahead and say out loud. Future once said she's for the streets, and I'm telling you that these bitches are not even for the streets. I used to say they're not for the streets, they're for the zoo. And now I'm going to go even further and say these bitches ain't even for the zoo, they're for the wilderness. They're for the jungle, and they're for the bush. These are animals. When they sit up and they look at a man because he got glasses and a lack of tattoos, and they say he looked like he only dates wide women, and they don't even think about mentioning somebody else, that is because these bitches are hyper-masculine. They're hyper-stereotypical. They are cartoon characters. And they believe, even when they refuse to be cartoon characters of what the white supremacist stereotypes us to be, while they refuse to be that themselves, they demand that we men be that if we want a chance at reproduction within our own race, which many of us have preferred. And that's why I'm saying to you, you have to train yourselves to no longer prefer the women of your own race. I used to say that was a mental conquest of somebody else over you. I used to say that. Now I'm saying to you that you have to actually train yourselves that way for your own individual lineage's genetic survival. If you want your parents to have grandkids that have a shot, that have a chance, that you must teach and train yourself to no longer give sisters a preference. And if you can't, then you're going to have to become an expert on black cultures. So you really can't afford to be divisive about being FBA or ADOS or whatever your nationality is going to be. You cannot afford that sort of division. You must, while delineation is still necessary and it's already been taken care of, you will not be able to afford to be divisive, because you will not be able to pick and choose without becoming an expert in black culture, so that you can find the ladies from the cultures that are not on that hyena monkey bitch bullshit. You're going to have to really fight to find that. You're going to have to become damn near an expert. Because in southern Nigeria, you ain't going to find it. She on that shit too. In Kenya, in its capital cities, you ain't going to find it because they're on that BS. In the capitals. In the capital, in Nairobi. I don't know about Mombasa, but you got to duck and dodge that shit there too. So you got to be careful. And you're going to have to know these cultures. You're probably going to have to go into places others don't know about. And when they find out, those places will probably change too. So that's what's up. But you must first understand that they are for the jungle, the wilderness, and the bush. And that's a mean thing to say, but that's exactly how you have to say it. That's the correct way to say it. The mean way is the only correct way. I wish I had better news, but I don't. Thank you for listening, as always. Black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. Like patriarchy until extinction of judgment day. And thank you for flying with us here on Jet Black Air with a phrase. Jet Black's also a verb. Keep jetting black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.